generated?
Yes, we were totally unprepared for the kind of outpouring of fan calls that we had. We had over 7,000 calls in 4 days, and our systems just were not able to handle that. We had enormous amount of calls, and it just wouldn't let up. And we finally asked the news media to help us to get the message out that we couldn't do anything. And it was mostly fans, young people, 15, 16, 18, very young people who called and just impulsively must have picked up the phone and wanted to know more about him.
Did anybody else in this hospital ever generate that kind of
No,
outpouring?
in all the years, I've been here for 11 years, in all the years, we never had this number of calls. Even when Lucille Ball was here, or Kirk Douglas, or George Burns, never anything like this, ever.
What are you talking about, 100 calls a day, 200?
We had, yes, the first 2 days we had 5,000 calls. The second, the third and the fourth day we had an additional 2,000 calls. And that is unprecedented. It was 100 calls an hour.
And they were mostly young kids?
Mostly young kids.
And what would they say?
They want to know. They want to know how he was. They wanted to talk to him. They wanted us to give him a whole rundown on how he was doing, not realizing that these were our operators. You know, our operators are not the people to talk to. There's really no mechanism for anything like this. It took us by surprise. Okay.
How do you spell your last name?
Correa, excuse me, Correia. It's on the press release.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Dr. Young. Here's Dr. Young.
Dr. Young.
Hello, doctor.
Hello. William Young.
Doctor, can you just give us a general, there was complications 2 ways?
Yes, his death occurred as a direct complication of the acquired immune deficiency syndrome. He was diagnosed earlier this week as having pneumocystis pneumonia. He'd been treated with several regimes to control his pneumocystis. Unfortunately, none of the regimes that he received was successful.
Any idea, doctor, how he might have contracted this and not knowing that he had it?
No, I have no idea. Historically, he did not get the AIDS virus from homosexual or from IV drug contact. He denied both homosexual activities as well as intravenous drug use. He then must have contracted the AIDS virus through heterosexual contact.
But it would seem unusual that he would be this far along and not have any symptoms prior, or is that incorrect?
No, that is incorrect. Often the AIDS virus can lie dormant in one's system for 8 to 10 years prior to the onset of any signs or symptoms of the disease. It just turns out that he was one of the people who remained totally healthy, whereas that more characteristically people develop some other manifestation of the decline in the immune system prior to coming in at the final stages. His T cells at the time of his initial evaluation was extremely low, which indicated that that this disease had reached a very definite and advanced stage at the time of his presentation.
Can you talk about his last moments? Did he say anything, or anything you can share with us about the last moments?
Well, his last moments in terms of his ability to communicate was actually several days ago, because he has been on life support systems since the 15th, since he was placed in the intensive care unit. He was placed on a machine to aid in his breathing. At the time that he was placed in the intensive care unit, he had such critically low oxygen, he had been paralyzed and sedated in order to maintain him until the time of his death.